let us start a next part of kinetic energy of rotating body in rotational dynamics. So this is irregular shaped rigid body. So irregular shaped rigid body, because definite shape have a definite moment of inertia. While studying the derivation, here we are considering any shaped body, so that is irregular shaped rigid body. Rigid body means in which the position of a particle remains same during motion or whenever the large force act on it. So such body is considered as rigid body. Let us assume this body is made up of n number of particles like m1, m2 and mn. These particles are situated from the axis of rotation at a distance r1, r2, rn from the axis of rotation, and consider this body is rotating with constant angular velocity omega. As the body is rotating with a constant angular velocity omega, so all particles of this rigid body rotate or the revolve with a constant angular velocity omega. So each particle will perform a circular motion about the center, and it has a constant angular velocity omega. Means angular acceleration will be 0 in this case. Means all particles are completing their revolution in equal time. Means period of revolution of each particle is same. So period of rotating body is nothing but the period of revolution of each particle in this case. So let us study about this. So for this, so all this consideration and constant angular velocity, these are the important terms while studying this kinetic energy of rotating body. I will once again repeat. So while studying this kinetic energy of rotating body, you must mention the body is rotating with constant angular velocity. If the angular velocity is constant, then only so we are studying this is kinetic energy of rotating body. If angular velocity changes, so there are the two cases of the kinetic energy, like one is for initial state and another one is for final state. So change in kinetic energy means again the law of conservation of energy comes into the picture. Whatever it may be in this derivation, here the omega is constant and body is made up of n number of particles. That are the concepts which are mentioned in this slide. So for theoretical simplification, let us consider the object to be consisting of n particle. We are studying the theoretical concept for this kinetic energy of rotating body. So we have considered the object is made up of n particle having masses m1, m2 dash dash mn at respective perpendicular distances r1, r2 dash dash rn from the axis of rotation. As the object rotates, all these particles perform UCM. So particles motion is uniform circular motion. Uniform circular motion means circular motion with constant angular velocity with same angular speed omega. So all particles perform UCM, uniform circular motion with constant angular velocity omega, but with different linear speed. Why each particle have a different linear speed? Because radius changes. Linear speed in circular motion is r times this angular speed. For different particle, this distance from the axis of rotation differ. So as this r value is different, so linear speed also differ. So for first particle, the linear velocity will be r1 omega. For second particle, linear speed will be r2 omega. For nth particle, the linear speed will be rn omega. So these are the linear speed for the first, second and nth particle. Now what will be the translational kinetic energy for the first particle? The translational kinetic energy for the first particle we are calculating, it is due to the reason that the sum of translational kinetic energy of n particle is nothing but the total kinetic energy of this system, and that will be a rotational kinetic energy of this rigid body. So translational kinetic energy of a first particle. So kinetic energy for the first particle is half mass of the first particle m1 into the speed of the first particle, that is v1 square. But what is V1 value? V1 value is R1 omega. So this expression become half M1, substituting V1 equal to R1 omega, it is R1 square omega square. So this is the kinetic energy for the first particle. Similar will be the case of all the other particles. Rotational kinetic energy of the object is the sum of individual translational kinetic energies. So this I already said to you that the rotational kinetic energy of this rigid body or of this object is the sum of translational kinetic energy of the n particle. So similar to this translational kinetic energy of a first particle, we can consider the translational kinetic energy of second particle, third particle and nth particle, and the sum of all the translational kinetic energy of n particle is a total kinetic energy of the system, and that is nothing but in this case a rotational kinetic energy of the system. Hence the rotational kinetic energy is half m1 r1 square omega square plus for second particle half m2 r2 square omega square plus so on plus half mn rn square omega square. So from this we can take half omega square is common. Therefore rotational kinetic energy become half omega square is taken common. Inside the bracket you will get m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus so on mn rn square. So this bracket term is algebraic sum of mass of each particle and the square of the perpendicular distance of that each mass from the axis of rotation, and that is nothing but the I. Hence the rotational kinetic energy of this rigid body or of this object is half I omega square. So this is I equal to this sum that will be represented by summation symbol I equal to 1 to n mi ri square, and that is substituted here I. Hence the rotational kinetic energy is given by formula half I omega square. So this is the expression for rotational kinetic energy. Student, so you have to learn this and also solve the problems on this. Now next term in this rotational dynamics is radius of gyration. So what is the radius of gyration? Radius of gyration is on an average distance of n particle from the axis of rotation. It is nothing but RMS value of the distance. So radius of gyration is RMS. RMS full form is root mean square distance of the n particle. So actually the body is a irregular shape. So we are assuming, let us consider a body of irregular rigid body. So as shown in this diagram, let it is rotating about this axis xy which passes through O. So for this body, here we are imagining the equal massive point size mass. In place of this body, we are considering the equal massive point object. So in place of this body, we have assumed the point object, and let that point object is rotating or revolving around the same axis of rotation. Let that point object is also rotating around the same axis of rotation. Then what is the difference between this actual body and this your imagined concept? Between the actual body and imagined concept, the difference is here body is made up of n number of particles. Hence while calculating the moment of inertia, you have to think about the n particle, whereas in this case there is only one particle whose mass is same as that of total mass of the body, because whole mass is assumed as a point mass. If this particle system having the same moment of inertia as that of actual body, means for this particle system, if I assume the moment of inertia is I dash, if I dash equal to I, then that particular distance between the point mass to that axis of rotation, point mass is assumed mass in place of that body. So perpendicular distance between that point mass to the actual axis of rotation, that particular distance is not said to be only distance, it is called as a radius of gyration, and this radius of gyration is found to be almost RMS value of the distance of the n particles. So this is the concept of radius of gyration. It may be defined like this. It is a distance from the axis of rotation to the point. It is a distance from the axis of rotation to the point at which whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated in order to possess the same moment of inertia as that of actual body. Then that distance is called as radius of gyration. So here I is a moment of inertia of a body. I dash is a moment of inertia of a point mass. K is radius of gyration. So if I equal to I dash, so this is a condition while studying the radius of gyration. This I must be equal to I dash. Then this R is not said as a distance. This R is said as radius of gyration. Then this R is equal to K. So moment of inertia of a body from this diagram will be mk square. So moment of inertia, because this I dash will be equal to this m into r square, and r is considered as k, so it will be mk square. So what is k value? So k value is square root of I by m. So this is a formula of radius of gyration. So radius of gyration in any case can be calculated by square root of moment of inertia divided by mass. So total moment of inertia of a system about that axis of rotation divided by mass, and its square root will give the radius of gyration. So to calculate the radius of gyration about any axis, we must know the moment of inertia of corresponding axis, because if the axis changes, then moment of inertia changes, then radius of gyration changes. So if we want to find the radius of gyration about any axis, then about the same axis you must know the moment of inertia. So SI unit of this radius of gyration is meter. So it is independent of mass, because while calculating the K, here the mass get cancelled because moment of inertia depend upon mass. So radius of gyration is independent of mass and depends upon the distribution of mass. Larger value of K represent the further is the mass from the axis of rotation. If the value of K is larger, it represents the distribution is wider from the axis of rotation. Smaller value of K represent distribution is closer to the axis of rotation. Let us study the next concept, that is theorem of perpendicular axis. So this theorem of perpendicular axis is applicable if we know the moment of inertia about any axis. From that axis we can calculate the moment of inertia about its perpendicular axis. So if we want to calculate the moment of inertia of any perpendicular axis of which the known perpendicular axis, the moment of inertia is you have. So for that purpose we can apply the perpendicular axis theorem. But the limitation of the perpendicular axis theorem is it is only applicable to the laminar bodies. Lamina means those bodies which having very small thickness. So it is applicable to only ring, disc and sheets in our study. So that we will continue in the next part.